up, let's queer up courts. Supreme Court affirms right to remove social media misinformation. So in a significant decision yesterday, the U.S. Supreme Court delivered a decisive victory to the Biden administration by overturning a lower court ruling that imposed severe constraints on government officials' interactions with social media companies like Twitter and Facebook regarding content moderation policies. The ruling, authored by Justice Amy Coney Barrett, and supported by a liberal conservative coalition of 6 justices, dismissed a case brought by individuals in 2 states in the South. These plaintiffs alleged that the government had coerced social media giants like Twitter and Facebook into restricting free speech online. However, Justice Barrett emphasized that the plaintiffs lacked legal standing and failed to provide credible evidence to substantiate their claims. Justice Barrett criticized the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals for basing its decisions on clearly erroneous factual findings. The Supreme Court's decision not only nullifies the lower court rulings, but also sets a stringent precedent for future challenges. It underscores that mere government criticism of online content is insufficient grounds for legal action. Instead, any challenge must demonstrate a direct causal link between government actions and the consequences on social media platforms. The ruling is expected to curb similar lawsuits in the future, marking a pivotal moment in defining the boundaries of governmental influence over online speech platforms. This decision is a huge warning to conservative, evangelical social media users who believe in spreading misinformation about the LGBTQ+ community, promoting hate and violence, and eventually hampering the democratic values of the country. So I was actually reading a little bit about this because I was more so wanting to know what the reasoning the plaintiff had for it. And they were basically saying that the government, basically influenced Instagram and Facebook to take down these things and set warnings, et cetera, et cetera. But it's interesting because the reason why they said it wasn't true is because the government only basically talked to Twitter and Facebook only after the fact that Twitter and Facebook had brought down those posts. So there was absolutely no evidence that the government was interfering at all with that.
Right.
So I just find it interesting that they're just kind of pulling things out of their ass. Don't mind my French, but
But further in the justice's comments was that she kept saying, "You're making what ifs." You're
exactly
looking into the future and trying to predict the future.
But there's no evidence.
Exactly, right. And that's why she said you can't do that. And she also pointed out that misinformation needs to be marked in some capacity to educate the reader so they don't take it.
Yep. Literally,
exactly.
As the Bible.
Just like in the COVID pandemic, when people were spreading major misinformation, they had to put those markers there because if not, people would be believing that Clorox actually
well, the word that you use, spreading, is really the important word, right? Because misinformation is not accidental. No, misinformation isn't getting a fact wrong by mistake. Misinformation is very intentional. And so then that gives the whole thing a whole different context. When you're intentionally telling people wrong information, putting lives at risk, what I always remind people of, because I work in healthcare, is we have millions of people who are on the spectrum. Everybody's not receiving these words that you're saying when you have these big platforms. Everyone's not receiving. Many people hear that and they take it literally. We had people walk into the clinic with burned esophagus.
Wow.
Right? Wow. And so you have to be really, really careful. You should be responsible when you're out there. I'm happy for this ruling. I'm surprised, but I'm happy.
Well, yeah, especially coming from this court, from this SCOTUS now, if they can only do something about Martha Ann Baumgarten-Rolito, the she-wolf of the new SS. Shut her up.
Yeah. So what do you think, Andy?